Welcome everyone. Happy Friday. So today's session is really, in my opinion, extremely introspective. So I'm very excited to kick off my weekend with this. Uh, I'm going to kick it off intro Vidya, and then Vidya is going to be running the show. She has us on a very fun and exciting workshop. And it's going to be really fun. I'd love to hear all of your perspectives. But before we get started, I really wanted to share a couple things as I came across this event. The first thing is that I feel like we live in this world that is constantly telling us what success looks like. With whether it be titles, whether it be accolades, whether it's being what sorts of external validation or that next big milestone. But I'm really excited about this session because it's really about what if true achievement isn't really about those external expectations, but it's truly driven from within us. So yeah, what's our unique sense of purpose? What's our unique sense of identity? And that's what Vidya is going to help us with today. uh, we're going to find our true north. And before I divulge too much, I also want to introduce Vidya because she is an amazing human being. Ha introduced us, and I just felt like we've just clicked. We've never met each other, which is funny, but I feel like I know her for a while now. Vidya is the co-founder of Product Rebel. She's helped over 1,200 product managers and leaders and founders just build stronger customer-focused teams. She's also founded Ad Astra Ventures, which really focuses on female founders. And that's kind of how we've had a lot of conversations. So Vidya is a force of nature, breaks all the ceilings that you can ever imagine. But she's also done the big tech thing. And I'm not going to go into that, but I'm sure you can find all of her bio. Uh, she sits on multiple boards, if I'm not wrong, Vidya. You hold many US patents. So basically, we have a rock star who's going to show us how to define our true north. So, without taking any more time, I'm going to pass it over to Vidya and I will slowly go in the background. Vidya, over to you. We're so excited
Thank
to have
you, Akshaya. That's so, what a lovely intro. And it's really funny, because you'd think, given the background, that I'd be talking about something to do with product, and I'm not. It's something completely different. And let me just tell you the way that it came about. Last year, Ha invited me to the Sidebar Summit, and I know that I met a couple of you there, and and I think she too was like, it's going to be around product leadership, something like that. But I was, wanting to do something different, and I told her the story. We Akshaya told you about the founders and have a venture group. We bought a group together end of last year, and I ran this workshop with them, and I was telling her about it, and she was like, "Oh my God, do that." And so I am by no means an expert in this area. This is really based on some learning, based on some personal experience, and then working and having done this workshop with a group of founders. And I also ran this at Sidebar Summit, which is why Ha asked me back. Got some really nice feedback, and I think this is just so suited for a sidebar audience. I mean, this is kind of why we're here. We like learning, we like helping each other, and we like exploring. So I hope you enjoy this. And again, this is a guide where there's no way that you can discover true north in less than an hour. But I wanted to give you some prompts and maybe a slightly different way to think about this. And there's lots of time to connect with each other. We're going to have lots of breakout rooms and talk. And again, I think this just really sort of holds true to the way that Sidebar defines connections, relationships, and learning. So here we go. So this workshop, I'm going to tell you a little about Reboot. Could as a show of hands or put in chat if anyone's read this because I think it's pretty remarkable. I think, part of this is being in the supportive environment and also challenging. And I think this is the key to this workshop. It's really challenging some limiting beliefs. We all know that this current climate, I mean, we're living it. It's been, gosh, about a year. Everyone tells us, I mean, I see so many people telling me it's getting better. And I'm like, no, not my experience. I think a lot of teams we work with, and a lot of people we work with, they're still really pretty tough out there. And so I think more than ever, this sense of really holding true to what it is that you want, if you're looking or if you're in a place where you're thinking about what's next, is what is really important to you. And I think that's so critical in terms of being able to shape that direction and then doing something about it, right? This is where I think many of us are very much sort of action focused. So what are we going to do? I was thinking that we could do some quick intros. And maybe what we can do is just quickly go off mute. And I know that we don't have much time, but I always like really hearing who's in the group. So if we could just say quickly your name, and maybe where you're from, like where you're sitting and where in the country world you're sitting, and then just one sentence so that we go through this really fast. But like why this workshop? Why did you show up this morning on a Friday morning? And maybe Akshaya, I know that you didn't have a choice because you're hosting this, but I'll start with you to warm things up. And then we can just quickly go around and I can, maybe what we can do is put people's names. I'll just put people's names in as you're typing that I can see. So go ahead.
Yeah, of course. You want me to come off mute and share?
Yes, please.
Amazing. So, Akshay Murli, I am originally from India, but I live in Menlo Park in the Bay Area. And why this workshop? I mean, I think it was basically what I shared up front. I was like, I just really want to look internally and drive what are the things that define me for me. That's what matters to me. So that's why I'm here today.
Beautiful. Okay, so I started putting people's names in. So if you can just see your name in order and then go off mute and quickly say, that'd be amazing.
Fantastic. I'm going to pass it over to Carolyn.
So, hi, I'm Caroline. I'm originally from Sweden and I also grew up in Spain. I'm in the Bay Area and I really want to live a purposeful life where I'm like playing in my strength. And so that's why I'm super interested in this uh, workshop. And I'm going to pass it over to Chris.
Hello, I'm Chris Brown. I am located in Indianapolis. I've spent probably the majority of my career as a engineering leader. So I've most recently been in senior engineering roles. My job was recently impacted by a reorganization. So I'm here as I'm kind of taking this moment to reflect and assess and prepare for my next big thing. So kind of grounding myself on how I can best align with my values. Uh, Going to pass it to Elizabeth.
And I'm gonna just interrupt for 1 second. And I would so love to spend more time on this, but I kind of need you to guys go really fast because I want to get into the meat of this. So just maybe I'm gonna take the one sentence away and just go name where you're from and then 2 or 3 words on why this workshop. So sorry guys, let's move.
Hi guys, I'm Elizabeth. I'm in Mill Valley and I'm a breakup artist. And so this is what I do. I am very much about breaking up with limiting beliefs, people, places, and patterns. I'm passing it to Bill.
Beautiful.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bill. I'm based in beautiful Seattle, Washington. And for me, I spend a lot of time with founders and leaders and just really summarizing this book. It really stood out about helping them make peace with demons because for me, it's about organization efficiency to be able to unlock the value that truly exists within an organization.
Love it. Thank you. Got it, Sarah. Let's keep I appreciate that. Herb, Joe.
I think I'm on mute. Yeah, Herb Block, Vancouver. Yeah, and I presently run about 6 companies right now, and I'm just here to gain the experience.
Love it. Julia. Sorry, Joe. Okay, let's keep moving. Julia.
Julie Wykes, Austin, Texas, here to get clear on achievement and success in this next stage of life.
I love it. Beautiful. Kristen.
Kristen Broman, Madison, Wisconsin. The one sticker on my computer says know your why, but it's still easy to forget. So here I am.
I love that. That's awesome. Meredith.
Hi, Meredith, also from Austin, Texas, and I've just been feeling somewhat defeated. So trying to figure out how to not need external validation professionally as much.
Thank you for being so open with that. I really appreciate that, Meredith. Nitin.
Oh,
Hey,
sorry,
everybody.
popping
Good
back to
morning.
Michelle. Nitin will come to you in a second. Meredith, thank you. Michelle in Seattle, also transition support. Nitin, your
Mm,
turn.
sorry, Michelle. Thank you.
Hey, happy Friday, everybody. And sorry, the camera is off. Zoom is not working well today. I'm in San Francisco Bay Area, and I'm here to see if I can get some hacks to really focus on the true north.
I love it. Sarah. Alia?
Cool. I'm Aaliyah Pialtos, tuning in from Worcester, Massachusetts, and I loved the topic of this session. I'm on a self-proclaimed gap year and help a lot of students and people reimagine their lives and like what types of educational travel opportunities that they want to pursue. So this dovetails really nicely with a lot of the work that I'm doing anyway.
I love it. And Laurie.
Hi, I'm Lori. I am from San Francisco, and work in product. And I'm here to like maybe define achievement outside of work.
I love that. Thank you for doing that and indulging me. I was just like, I just really want to get a sense of like why you showed up today because we're going to spend a lot of time sort of talking to each other. And I think it helps just hearing some of the different reasons why you showed up today. So quick rules. It's Chatham House rules, which basically means I want you to talk about what you learnt in this workshop, and clearly this is something that's a dialogue that's going to keep going. You just can't ascribe it to, hey, I was talking to Laurie and she said, you would just be like, I had this great conversation and I learnt this. So that's sort of Chatham House rules. You can talk about it, you can't ascribe. I love the vulnerability that's already been expressed. Please keep going. This is a safe space. I think, Sidebar really promotes that. And then you might get some really different feedback from the person you're with. And I think it's really easy when it's your true north and it's so personal to you to be quite defensive. I know I suddenly kind of like feel like I've got to explain. And I would just say, take the explanation hat off and just listen to the feedback. It's a gift, right? You don't have to take it, but just don't feel like you've got to explain yourself because this is not about that. The art of being able to, sometimes we're just the art of being talking it out loud is we're practicing. We're practicing what it sounds like. It might not even be true. And I think that's really important to keep in mind. Okay, so there's three key concepts in Reboot, and that's really sort of the core of, and I just wanted to give you sort of like a minute on the background. I really encourage you to read this. It was so incredibly helpful a couple of years ago when I took a look at it, and that's why I built this workshop for the founders. We had 3 hours on this, so I'm really reducing it, but I wanted you to get a sense of what it looked like. And so it's really this book around radical self-inquiry and as a means for your own success. And he talks about it professionally, but I think it's so involved with it personally too, when you can define success and your true north. And he has this really interesting blend of like Buddhism, Jungian therapy. I mean, he goes into all sorts of places. In fact, I think I read 3 books after Reboot because of the references. I just kept going and going. It's like, sort of like, going down okay, so he referenced this, so I'm going to go explore that. And while it's focused on these insights to help overcome trauma, I think you don't have to be in trauma to get so much of the benefits from this. And I think sometimes when we've been in careers for quite some time as leaders, there's a lot of unrealized trauma that you haven't even really either acknowledged or understood. And I think this really helps with that too, when you sort of think about like, what are your expectations? Where are you going to go? The radical self inquiry. So, this is looking into your own emotional baggage, right? It's basically like what's driving me and what are those patterns and how are they impacting my professional and my personal relationships? All these things we take for granted. Like I told you, it's this weird mix of all these kinds of therapies in a professional sense. This idea of integrating your personal history. So, what Colin does is he really asks people to connect those experiences that you've had to find meaning. And from that, to build really healthy relationships and become more compassionate as a leader. And I love that because I love it. You sort of practice the self-compassion first. And then, once you've understood, then it's really sort of the heart of coaching. And I think so many of these concepts, when I was back at, gosh, this was back when I was at Intuit, I went to a week long, how to be a coach, because, as a senior leader, that was really important to me. And so many of the concepts remind me of sort of 15 years ago, a lot of the self-realization and inquiry that you did. But I love the fact that he's put it in this professional business sense. And the last is this idea of work as self-actualization. And that, and I know that one of you talked about, like, is it work? Is it something else outside of it? And it's the integration, and that's really helped me, I think, in terms of like how are you using work to achieve your life's potential. It's not one or the other, it's this blend. And it really advocates for resetting goals and reconnecting with yourself. So that's the core basis. I've sort of summed up this brilliant book in three really probably way too like inadequate sentences, but I wanted to kind of give you sort of the sense of like why I think this is such important work to do. So we don't have an hour. I've got sort of three sections. I think the crafting your true north is going to be an exercise for the weekend. I've got a workbook. Akshaya will send it to you so that you can have all these prompts and then you can actually think about your true north. But I wanted the first part of it at least to explore this idea of external pressures that sometimes we don't articulate, and then starting to like define what that context looks like. And I think these two components for me helped build my true north. So that's what we're going to do. So the first step is this idea of the success myth. Like, what does it mean? What are we told success looks like? What have we, taken in and just taken for granted, internalized? And I want us to externalize that. So the very first piece, and just we're all on computers, so just pull up a note. I'm just going to put 5 minutes because I really want some time for you to do some self-reflection, and then we can connect and talk about it. So here are the prompts for breaking down this idea of what the success myth is. So jot down what you believe are your common definitions. And I think it's so interesting because when you kind of expect it to be like a dictionary definition of success, but depending on where we come from our backgrounds, from our culture, our society, the way that we were brought up, the industry that we're working on, it's so interesting when you actually articulate the common definition of success. We all have different ones. So that's the first step, is just jot down a couple of what you believe are your definitions of success that come from the outside, not you personally. And I'm making that distinction because I want you to try to write in the words of, I believe success is ABC. Then you're kind of going into you personally, like your family, who you follow on social media, who you think of as leaders that you admire. How's that shaped your perception of success? Like, who do you try to emulate? Who are those people? And then the last minute, so if you just take a minute, a minute and a bit, then the last couple of minutes, why do you think they've influenced your choices and your priorities? Okay, so hopefully that's given you some time to think about it. I'm going to pop 5 minutes on the clock, and please take some time to just jot down notes. Okay, and I have no fun music in the background, so we're just going to do this in silence.
Quick time check, last minute over here. And Vidya, I think we're just at time.
Brilliant. Thank you, Akshaya. I'd like stop my timer. Don't need to do both of them. Okay, gang. So I know that wasn't very long. It really just was to try and get the top of mind ideas for you. So what we're going to do is break you into pairs, and using the prompt that you had. Here's the question. I don't want you to share everything that you put together. That's for you to have these internal notes. What I want you to do is to talk about what's the one thing you can let go, right? Out of all those assumptions that you made of the success factors, of what comes in externally and internally, culturally, all those different components, get into your peers, and then we will ping you when it's 5 minutes. So we're going to give you 5 minutes each, and at 5 minutes we'll ask you to swap. But I want you to think about and ask, what's the one thing you can let go that truly isn't your definition of success, and that you're like, wait a minute, that just doesn't resonate with me. And then for the other person who's listening, ask questions. You all know how to do this, like, open-ended. You're not there to give advice. You're asked to really sort of dig into, like, why. And if someone has multiple things or can't decide, help them explore it. Okay, so let's move into those breakout rooms. I think, Akshaya, if we can open those up.
Yep, I think I just had it all set up. Give me a second. I think I lost someone right now. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and create rooms. If I feel like anyone's alone, I might just add you over to a different room. Is that okay?
Perfect.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to do that. And then please let me know if it all kind of plays out well.
I think Joe is still here.
Joe has not joined, and I think Julie is by herself. So I'm going to move Julie to room 3. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'll move her to room 4 so Julia is not alone. Okay. I think
And
everyone.
then maybe just move Joe into a room. I mean, he might have stepped away from his desk.
Yeah, I will move him to. Oh, someone just joined the main waiting room. Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll just move him to 3. And then let me see. Nitin, hello. We're just doing breakout rooms, so I am
Yeah,
going
sorry, my computer is really acting up today, so I
not
dropped out.
not a problem. I will just move you to a breakout room, and again, I think Vidya, if you just want to give him a quick prompt, then I will send him over.
Yeah, and I think maybe what you can do is I'll put it into chat, and then you can
Yeah.
throw it into.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, Nitin, you're going to join Elizabeth and Herb. Okay. So I think we don't have Joe here, but he may have stepped out, yes.
Okay, and if you could just pop that into a reminder, and then I don't know if you started the 5 minutes.
No, I didn't, but I'll do it right now.
Maybe 4, and then we can switch to 5 at the next one.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Done, and I'm just messaging. Yeah, I just broadcasted it. Thank you. Okay, I think we're set. And
Cool.
I've left the note taker here so we don't intrude any rooms.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we don't want people listening in on those things. That's why I'm like, keep those note takers away from things that are personal.
Definitely.
Even this, I might turn it off, honestly, Akshaya, because you know, the idea that people might, I mean, I would just turn the note taker off at this point because
Sure.
like you got the beginning part of the context and now it's all people sharing.
100%. Okay, yeah, I can do that. I will
Thank you.
remove, and I think we're good.
And I'll let people know that then they're not being recorded and that no one's going to quote them.
Yes, 100%. And then I think if we have your content, like, that should wrap it up pretty well.
Yeah, and you've got the workbook, which has everything in it.
Okay, we have Shruti joining in right now. Hi, Shruti.
Hi Shruti, if you're here, we've got a group. Oh, she's gone.
Oh, okay.
Probably like, ah.
Oh no, I joined at the crazy time. It's like, oops, that's not what I expected. Okay, how are you feeling on time, Vidya?
I think we'll do one more. We'll do one more prompt and then another breakout, which will take us. I mean, this is one of those things where I'm really just, this is the lightest of touches. This should take hours, but hopefully people will get some prompts and useful like connecting and exploring.
100%. Okay, so I think then what we'll do is we have about a minute, 30 seconds left now. I'll do a quick broadcast saying 1 minute to go. Please wrap up. and then I'll bring them back. So we had 4 breakout rooms, just so you know.
Okay.
So I'll do
Great.
the same for the next session, and I
Perfect.
think I can start planning it ahead of time. So that's great. Assign manually. Next. Okay, 15 seconds and I will close all the rooms.
No, isn't it switching? It's switching.
Oh, sorry?
So the 5 minutes each. So you had 4 minutes for the first pair, and now you're switching off to the other person. So if you can broadcast, please switch to the next person now.
Okay. Please switch to the other person. And you have 5 minutes more. Got it.
Thank you.
Sorry, I messed that up.
No worries.
Okay, and I just started our timer. I didn't know we can broadcast voice.
Oh, that's new.
That's new. Okay, I am set for the next one too.
Perfect.
Did you have when did you want me to do you want to do like 10 minutes for Q&A, like 9:50? Maybe when you give me the cue, that's when I'll drop the feedback survey as well as Q&A is happening.
Sure. Yeah, probably with 5 minutes to go. That'd be great.
That sounds good. Okay.
Okay, are we close? Another minute or so?
We are 2 minutes 20 seconds. So I'm
Okay.
quickly broadcast, say 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, let's just do 2 minutes because it's like, yeah, perfect. Then we
Yeah.
can keep going. People love talking to each other. It's so good. It's hard to like get them to break up.
I know. I have 2 new people joining the waiting room.
Oh, you do. You can get them to join if they want to.
Yeah,
That's
okay, I'll bring
fine.
them. Hello. Hi, Charles. Hi, Karthik.
Guys, we've got people in breakout rooms. They'll all be coming back in about a minute. So
Yeah.
if you just hang in there, you can catch the second part of this.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I had a conflict.
No worries. Nice to have you join. You'll still get the workbook and everything. We're sort of building on some of the content, essentially talking about trying to get to True North. First part of the prompt, that can you still see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. What we did was kind of give some context to this workshop, and then we started to explore what the success myth looked like, and getting people to think about the definitions of success in our society that we see, that we hold as successful, and sometimes, and then also trying to examine sort of internally what are the role models. And so that's what we've been looking at. We did some internal work. We've had people break out into groups, and then they'll all be coming back in about a minute. So you can hear some of these, and this might help with your own prompts. So I know it's a little hard sometimes joining in the middle of a workshop, but I'd invite you to absolutely stay and listen in, and then you can jump into the second part of this prompt. And as I said, welcome. You can. I think we had Charles. Okay, we had Charles be like, okay, I'm out. But I think this work, it can start at anywhere. So welcome, and everyone should be back here in about a minute, right, Akshaya?
Yeah, like 10 seconds actually. I'm just going to
Okay,
bring them back in right now.
perfect.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome, Vani. I hope you got a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, I caught the tail end of that, and thank you for allowing us to still participate halfway through.
Of course.
Work and life, and so.
Oh, I get it.
Fine.
I get it.
Fine.
Yeah.
So
No,
fine.
no need to explain. And actually, part of this is how do you combine this? Like, what does that sort of definition of achievement look like that you are combining those to sort of essentially a true north? I mean, I think for the longest time I had this like work life, and you define them separately. And I think so much of my work personally has been to combine those. So it's not a mixture of work life, it's just one. And I think that's, it's a lot of sort of self-work to get there. So I bet you did I think I set it for 1 minute, Akshaya. So we just sort of remember the breakouts. We have another minute as we close down before people are dragged back in. You could change that setting to be
I
like
will.
20 seconds or 30 seconds or something.
Yeah, it's all good. It's like 5 seconds now, so I'm not going to mess with
it. Here comes everybody. Excellent.
There we go.
Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I know this was like the briefest of times to start exploring something as important as this, but I wanted you to have a chance to at least have that one question, like what can you let go? Could we just have maybe one or two people share, like either their experience of it or how it felt to start exploring this? I know that we can't get into the details of yours, but I'd love to hear about how it went for you. Can we have one or two people? Sarah, buddy. Sarah.
Hi, Vidya. Hello,
Oh
everyone.
my gosh, so nice to see you.
I know, it's so nice to see you as well. 2 times. Awesome. I
can't
think
believe
for
you came
me,
back to this. I love this. She was at the sidebar at doing this in person. So this is
yeah.
wonderful.
I think for me, it was really letting go high cortisol inducing activity, and trying to lower my stress.
I think I love that. It's the adrenaline rush. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. One other person, thank you for sharing, Sarah. Can I pick on somebody? Would that be awful? Elizabeth, you're on camera. Would you share?
What was you just wanted to share the experience?
Yeah, just like how did that go for you? Like how did it starting to explore this go for you?
So it went well. I mean, this is definitely the work I do, so it didn't necessarily feel unfamiliar. I was able to start defining my own definition of success about 3 years ago. But it was really great to connect with other people in the group and understand their journey in defining their success and where they are and how it started to shape them. So cool exercise.
I love it. And one other, I'm going to pick on Kristen because you talked about sort of like exploring your why, and I just wondered if this started to help you down that path, like how you found the prompt.
Yeah, it actually was an interesting session resonated with the other people in my group a lot and talked about things that we don't talk about a lot, at least in my day-to-day, because we're always at that high cortisol level. We're always expected to have that endless energy solving problems, and we don't really take the time to slow down and ask why. Like, why is that what we're chasing?
Yeah, exactly. No, thank you. Thank you guys for sharing that. I want to keep moving. We had a couple of new people join us. So as they go into the next group breakout, and we'll make it a little bit shorter, we're starting to go into now, after exploring like what you hold up as success and sort of saying like, wait a second, is that really what success looks like to me? Again, scratching the surface of deep work here. Then it's like the idea is going into your ideal context. And so I think, we talked a little bit just, and also at the break where when you were on breakouts, this idea of combining this idea of work life, how does it combine to be this one purpose? And so I'm not even going to take 5 minutes. I'm just going to give you three so that we can have a little bit of time together and then come back. But maybe it's just like one or two of these, or just one of these questions. As I read them, if whatever you comes to mind, if you just pop it into your notepad. So what type of company, like is there a culture or a vision, a mission, values that you really want to work for, that's kind of like that's driving you? Or is it much more around sort of like, where do I see myself? Like that exercise you do when you're, 90 and looking back, like how do you want to describe your life and career? That's such a powerful prompt. Is that driving you? And there's sort of maybe a dissatisfaction of where you are now. And then this idea of emotion about success. I think so many of us, I love that, Sarah talked about the cortisol. Like sometimes that's what success looks like. It's that high. It's like, I did it. Others, it's enabling. It's like, what's that emotion? Is it satisfaction? Is it pride? Is it excitement? Like, what does success look like for you in that context? Like, what drives you? Then what kind of impact do you want to have on the world? What difference do you want to make? And I think it's such an important question for us now, as we are sort of in our careers. What does the impact, and is that important to you? And then finally, is it leadership? Like, is there a leader or there's qualities or behaviors that you're really striving to be? So hopefully one of those questions kind of prompted you to be like, oh, that's interesting. So I'm just going to give you like a minute just to pick one and write down a couple of notes. Okay, so we'll just give you 1 minute. And I really wish we had hours to do this. It'd be so much fun to just deep dive into this for a really long time. Okay, I know that wasn't very long, but I want you to have one last session, especially for the new people to come in, just to connect with somebody and to have that conversation. Is Akshay, if we can open up the rooms again, and we're going to take just a total of 6 minutes. So if you're in a group of two, it'll be 3 minutes each. If you're in a group of three, a couple of minutes each. So the whole thing is 6 minutes. If we can open the breakout rooms. And what I'd like to do is for you to share a reflection, like what called to you and why. And then for the other two people, one or two people in the group with you, just again, some active listening, some probing, some clarifications around why you pick that, and help them sort of explore this theme. Because again, this is scratching the surface. Actually, can we open the breakout rooms, please?
Yep, it's all open.
And if we can do 5 minutes on the clock, did you change the time for them to
I
come
did.
back?
I did.
Perfect. Then we'll give them 6 minutes and then we'll come back and then I'll get a couple of people and then we'll start to wrap.
Fantastic. Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah.
I feel like
So
it's almost unfair to give such a short amount of time to explore this. How do you think? How do you think it's going?
yeah, no. I think it's going well. I do think it's short time. I think
Yeah,
maybe what would be interesting is like just to, well, we wrap that up, just like find a buddy or someone in the
that's
room
a good idea.
that they can go follow up on,
Oh, I
like
love that.
from now to
Yeah,
like really follow up,
yeah,
just so it's not like a 2-minute activity and they've forgotten about it. There's some accountability to get it done.
yeah.
But yeah, so I have the rooms going and the timer's on. So you said total 6 minutes, right? So maybe
Totals.
I'll do a half point check-in and just say halfway through.
Just
So
halfway through.
yeah,
Yeah, perfect. Are they in groups of 2 or 3?
there are some groups of 3.
Okay, great.
Okay, I'll do a quick message saying wait to total of 3 minutes remaining.
Great.
All right, so we have 10 minutes. How do you want to do this, Vidya?
So we'll bring them back. I'm going to wrap up and then I think about sort of we're going to get a little bit of sort of feedback and then I'm just going to tell them what next steps are.
Perfect.
And so I think, the Q&A, the last couple of minutes, like so you want to be able to come in and talk about the survey at the end or do you want a minute to wrap up at the end?
I think just give me a minute to wrap up at the end.
Cool.
Yes, just a minute to wrap up at the end, I think is more than enough.
Okay.
I think what I wanted to make sure is just like we still give them some time to ask clarifying questions if you're doing the accountability and all of that stuff, just so that we
Yeah.
make sure they have the time.
Yeah.
And then I'll drop the link in. If I don't get enough feedback, I might just ping them one-on-one and get it as well. It's not a very big group, so I can be flexible on that. I just want to maximize time with you, I think.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, we have about a minute left, so
Perfect.
we should be here pretty shortly. Okay, ready? 30 seconds. Grace. Alrighty, I'm gonna get them back.
Coming back. Okay, great.
Cool. It's perfect timing.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Hopefully, again, gosh, I feel bad about not giving you enough time to connect in these groups. And actually, I had a wonderful idea about, perhaps you continue this workshop. You don't have to. You don't have to do the prompts that we're going to give you in this workbook alone. Like maybe reach out to someone that you just started this conversation with, and now you've got someone that you can go back to and connect with and do some of this work with. Any quick share outs here in terms of anything that came up for you? And I'm gonna, and Meredith, you can be like not interested in sharing right now, but I'm given where you started, I'd love to sort of know, has this been useful for you?
Yeah, super useful. I think even just like dedicating time to think, to like really think about it without distraction, and then having a chance to bounce some of those things off other people and hear like what others who have thought about this a lot more than me are thinking. So really helpful. I want to continue like jotting stuff down after this.
Oh, I love that. I'm so glad. It makes me very happy. The next step for you all that we don't have time to do, but this is in the workbook that Akshaya is going to send you, is to start using these, doing a little bit more of the deeper work, and then sort of crafting this definition of success. And what I did was I wrote it and then I shared it with a really small group of people just to get their feedback. And I think the art of like turning it into like you want to talk about this, but then you want to create it. And of course, I think that it's so helpful. One of the interesting prompts that I used just recently was I fed it into ChatGPT Gemini. And I said, given what you know and given the way that you've interacted with me, like what do you notice that's missing or that isn't in line with the way that I'm showing up? And it was so freaking interesting that there was a couple of areas that they were like, well, this seems inconsistent with what you've defined as your true north. And it really sort of set me back and it gave me amazing sort of just feedback in a way that I think because you've been using this to prompt and ask questions and refine. So the way that you're showing up and interacting with this technology, it is watching you, and then you're giving it permission to tell you, is this in line with my true north? So that's another next step that I would recommend you take. So how do you move on? Aligning for your true north. I'd love for you to like, I think reading reboot is a great next step. And then the idea of the accountability partner, kind of connecting with someone that you just met here. And again, if there's someone who's more experienced, I mean, I hope that some of this work that some of you do as coaches has been useful just as a different perspective. And especially that AI prompt, I think was a game changer for me because now it's like I feel like I got a real check in. So with that, I know we've got a few minutes, and actually I popped this survey in, but I'd love to just like I'll turn my share off, and any kind of clarifying questions or any other comments from the session today.
Also, don't be shy. Just come off mute and say the thing.
Say the thing.
Say the thing.
Say the thing. Nitin, how did you feel? I know you had some technical issues, but you're going in and out. I'm just going to pick on a couple of people because we're a small group. It's fun.
Sure. I think it was terrific, and thank you for doing this, and thanks to Akshay for supporting it. I think just kind of we all kind of know some of these things, but unless you actually sit down and think about it, you actually do not nail it down. And I think that was the biggest thing for me. I thought I know a lot of it, but when you sit down you realize actually you still need to crystallize it.
That's so important to kind of, because I think in the back of our minds we believe that we are driven by sort of our values and an idea of true north. And I exactly the same place as you. It took so much when I first wrote it down. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't right. It took me so many iterations to feel like I'd captured something that actually felt genuine. And then, as I said, I shared it with a couple of really close friends, colleagues, to be like, okay. And then again, going forward, you've got some accountability driving up to getting here, but there's also accountability in showing up that way. So if you give the people that see you all the time, whether it's your peers, whether it's your family, your friends, it's really nice to be able to kind of get that voice to be like, this is what's important to me, and this is how I want to show up. I love that. Chris, I saw I'm picking up the people who are like, they're like, I'm never going off camera again, but like,
Yeah, it was great. Kind of hearing different perspectives on the subject, and I think we had my first breakout group. We had a really good discussion on how success was perceived, but also the challenges of life in various stages of life, particularly like for people that are parents and having to kind of be all the things all the time and not necessarily feeling successful if they're not able to do all the things.
mm-hmm. I mean, it's so fascinating, isn't it? Just the idea of talking about what success looks like. And I think for me, sort of driving it from like a lot of stuff that was like just deep in terms of family and expectations was really interesting. It's just interesting conversations to have. I know we're at time. I really appreciate you showing up this morning on a Friday. As I said, I'll send you out the workbook and I'd love for you to take it. And please just reach out to me. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, on email. I think Akshay has all the details. And I wish you all the luck in crafting your true north. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone.